All right. Welcome, everybody. I'm super excited to have us here today. If you can be on camera, that would be super amazing. While Eric is currently trying to ensure that we have the YouTube stream live, let's have that rolling. Uh, Many more people are going to be joining us along the way, but we just have to start right now. Okay. If you can hear me, just drop a yes in the chat. Just drop a yes in the chat. We're going to be having an amazing 45 minutes to 1 hour session. Thank you. Great. Got it. So we are live on YouTube, and this is SolaviseTech, our YouTube podcast session. It's applied to see that we have everybody joining to network. These sessions are actually meant for networking and collaboration. I want to welcome everybody who is here, especially Dr. Kizito, the co-founder for SolaviseTech, all the way from the US. We have Kevin Tuei here, who is going to be my co-host. Then we have our amazing speakers. We most likely going to have just two speakers today. Dr. Ibrahim wasn't able to make it up for the session today, but in case his schedule permits, he can join us along the line. But we're going to have two great personalities as guests, and it took a lot of screening from our end to be able to determine who would join in as a guest speaker, right? And these two persons are people that we've collaborated for a while now, and they have a lot of value they're offering to their communities, and so we thought it wise to have them join us and share. Kevin, is your system good now? My name is Dr. Samba Otavise. For those who are joining for the first time, I'm based in Cameroon, and I'm excited to be one of your hosts for the session today. So we're going to be going through how you can successfully build a great data science career. I'll be talking with people who are on ground, who are in the field. They'll be sharing with us some insights. Kevin, are you good now? You're muted. Okay, I see you're trying to settle down.
Yes, settling down. Just getting my. Am I visible? I'm excited to
Sure.
be here.
Sure.
Awesome. Excited to have you as my co-host as always. We are in for the second stint of our podcast, our fireside chat and podcast session. As Dr. Samba has already mentioned earlier, my name is Kevin Tuei, and the CTO for SolaviseTech. Happy to be in this amazing team. Also honored to be given this opportunity also by our co-founder, Dr. Kizito, and the rest of our whole team. I can see the whole team is already here. Big ups to the whole Solavise Technologies team, and also to our learners who are here. And everyone who's watching, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's here on Zoom, and also our most esteemed panelists, because these podcast sessions can definitely not happen without you. So I can't wait for an amazing session. And yes, back to you, Dr. Samba, so that you can take it to the next level.
All right. Thank you very much. So I wanted to bring on board the first speaker on our panel, who is going to definitely just give us an introduction of himself. This is someone that I got to connect with. It's not been that long, maybe 2-3 months now, but his energy is mind-blowing, right? See, when you meet people of your kind, right, they say birds of same feather flock together. He happens to be one of the co-founders of Medics in Tech, where I equally am a part of. He's equally the CEO and founder of Zion Tech Hub. I will not want to go deep dive into his introduction, but he's going to do much around that. But just to let you guys know that just for the short time I've gotten to know him, he's somebody that is a go-getter, and I love to hang around people like this. Godsent, I don't know if I've overdone it, but let me pass over the mic to you right now. So you just
right.
maybe get to introduce yourself. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really, really excited to be here, right? I think it's really one thing that gives me so much fulfillment whenever I have the opportunity to be among like minds, to share my insights, to also learn from them, and then to also have this sense of collaboration and building. I've always talked about the fact that I really want us to build a mega community of tech enthusiasts all across Africa and even beyond, just like what our friends in Indians are doing. Indians are doing that. And I'm really excited whenever I have a privilege to connect with like minds across Africa to talk about the potential of exploring tech here in Africa and even beyond. And my name is Ndoma Godsent, as Dr. Samba has said, and I'm the founder of Zion Tech Hub, and I'm also the co-founder of Medicine Tech. I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you very much, Godsent. And you just made mention of India. The next person who is coming on board is a Cameroonian who is based in India. And he was just observing what I was doing at SolaviseTech at one point, and he got to me. I was like, bro, I love what you're doing, right? And I'm looking for an opportunity for us to see how we can bring this technology back home. So he reached out, is it possible for us to collaborate and do stuff with Solavis as far as data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence goes? I was like, why not? So he, jumped on the boat and right now heading our data science machine learning program. And let's have Boris. Boris, just maybe tell our audience who you are, what drives you. We're going to have an amazing session today. So guys, please, I want each and every one of you to be as attentive as possible. Write down your questions, because right down towards the end of these sessions, you have the opportunity to ask your questions to experts who are producing results on ground. So Boris, you have the mic, please.
Okay, Dr. Samba, thank you very much. And greetings to everyone. I know we are joining from different geographical locations. It might be morning for you, evening for me, maybe afternoon for another person. So I extend my regards to everyone. Please confirm if you can hear me, just to be sure. Am I audible enough, Dr. Samba? Okay, awesome. Okay, like Dr. Samba said, I'm very grateful for this opportunity to always have the opportunity to collaborate with different persons who also think positively. I was having a discussion with my friend the other day, and I learned something. He said, in this life, just three things matter: what you know, who you know, and who you are. And so what you know becomes the skills you have, who you know becomes your network, and who you are becomes your personality. You understand? And so when you find yourself on a platform like this, where you get to increase your network, get to learn more about the things that are happening in the world, and I think it's a great opportunity. So I am happy. So as earlier introduced, my name is Fuh Boris Nforbi. Normally started as a medical laboratory scientist back in Cameroon. Along the way, I branched into data. I started with a degree in statistical programming. That was from research in Germany, and then I moved up to doing a master's in IT data analytics here in Germany. In India, sorry, I just defended that, and a postgraduate in data science. That too has just been concluded. But I've actually had the experience to work with data since 2018, right up to now. It's just been me and data. And the most exciting thing about it is that you get to use those skills to solve real life experiences, right? And like we'll be discussing today, you'll get to understand that when you're trying to pick a career or learn a skill, you are actually looking at something that can directly create an impact in the society, you understand? Because like we said, if what you know cannot solve any problem in the society, then what you know remains with you. No one is coming to ask for you, coming to ask you for anything. And so as we evolve, we got the opportunity to look at things that become more essential, skills that become more demanding, and then you try to keep away those that are obsolete, and then you try to go for those that you think that are coming into the light. And so you get to grab something in that direction so that you move with the world. Otherwise, we'll be in the 21st century and you'll be dwelling in the 18th century. So guys, it's going to be a great opportunity. So let's merge our heads together. I always call sessions like this cross-fertilization, because we're going to be learning from each other, right? So it's going to be a plenary where we discuss. So thank you guys very much.
Good. All right, so let me just bring it on, everyone. We have Kevin. I'm going to pass it over right now to you. So while Boris is catching his breath, you can maybe take on the question sessions from here, just so that we can get it rolling. We'll have the next 30 minutes directions.
Would you be kind? Would you be kind to give me like 3 minutes? I settle in on my perfect microphone, just like you. I'm envious of you. So
that's totally fine. So
yes.
Let's start off with Godsent, right?
Yeah.
All right, great. Let's start with Godsent. Godsent, we would like to know your journey right into data. How did you start? On the call right now, we have people that have no background in data science. They're about to embark, or they're about to start their journey, and they're wondering if this is something they should venture into, right? So can you walk us through end to end how you got into data science? What pushed you into data science? Is it an easy field to get into? What should people expect, right? Just not like out of theory, but a personal perspective. You have 3 minutes, right, just to walk us through that path. Thank you. So you're muted.
My journey is really very exciting. So I think 3 minutes will not be enough, but let's just try to see how we can really do it.
Let's do 5. Let's do 5.
Okay, all right. So I'll be very fast and see how 5 can cover. So I actually studied medicine and surgery here in Nigeria from Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe University. And then in my 400 level, I saw 2 categories of medical doctors in the teaching hospital. One category of them came to the hospital all the time. They work night shifts. They were always there, and yet they didn't look so rich to me, right? And then I saw another category of doctors. They just drove in with flashy cars, and then they'll just spend a few minutes in the hospital, and then they'll get away, and then they were doing so well. So I was a little bit confused. I wanted to balance. So what's going on here? And so I attended one seminar, and then I attended one seminar where Professor Joseph Ngobodo was presenting. I wanted to attend the seminar because he's one of the medical doctors who I really admired. He really comes to the hospital, but then he was doing so well. Everybody talks about him, everybody respects him. And so when I attended the seminar, it was a public health seminar, and he was doing some presentation. So he was just showing visualization, talking about disease prevalence. At the time in Venezuela, I think the country was having an epidemic break, and then he was talking about how the disease was going to spread. He was talking about what was going to happen and all and all. And I was like, I was already in 400 level. I knew I had 2 years left. I'm going to be done with medical school. And I knew this thing is not my curriculum. This thing this man is talking about is not my curriculum. So, why are you coming with this superior knowledge? So at the end of the seminar, I rushed to him. I said, good evening, sir. I introduced myself to him. I'm Ndoma Godsent. I really enjoyed your presentation, sir. And then I talked to him. I said, sir, am I missing classes? Because I don't know, this thing you're saying is not, it's not in the curriculum. And then he said, no, that this is data science, this is data analytics. And what he told me, he said, it's slightly different from what you're doing in medical school. It's a great career path if you want to venture it, but if you want to venture into it. But I would advise you finish first from medical school, because like most of you know already, medical school here in Nigeria, just like in every other part of the world, is really very arduous, right? You really cannot say you want to add anything to medical school again, right? You might break up, you might begin to have a lot of receipts. And so he said, no. If you want to pursue a career in data science, it's going to be after your medical school, right? And then that was the first time I was hearing data science. I didn't really understand what he was saying. So when I went home, I did a little research. What's data science? And then the things I was reading online was really catching my attention. I said, yes, this is the guy I am. This is me. This is my personality I'm talking about here. And so the next day I went to him, I said, Prof, I want to become a data scientist. And then he laughed at me and said, no, that the thing is going to be taxing. I might have to fail some courses and take receipts. And so no, it's too risky. And that I should do it after medical school. I came back to him. I keep on persuading him. I said, sir, I have thought about it and thought about it. I'm ready to take the risk. And then long story short, he recommended me to a mentor, right? The person who trained me in data analytics and data science was based in the UK, Favour Ibudi. And so the first time I got a comprehensive definition of data science, I got it from her. And so my journey was actually very focused, because I think we're doing every day, 4 hours every day, right? And then we did that for about 3 months, right? And so she was telling me, you have to show up every day, just show up every day. And so a lot of things were new to me because I was not coming from a technical background. I didn't even know how to program. I didn't even know how to write a code on Python. I didn't even know what an IDE even was even. So everything looked very new to me, right? But I was really passionate to learn. I wanted to make so much impact, right? And then when I started off, I didn't really find a community around me. I think that was one of the major challenges because Samba has asked me to also highlight some of my challenges. So one of the challenges I had was that there was no community around. I wanted to explore a career in digital health. I wanted to become a health tech expert like the professor I admired, Dr. Joseph Ngobodo. I later went on to find out that he was a health tech expert with UNICEF and World Health Organization. So I wanted to be like him and make a global impact, but I didn't know how. There was no supportive community around. And then when I told my mentor, I said, in fact, when I was learning data science, my colleagues in school were laughing at me. They were like, look at you don't even know what you're doing. You're studying medicine. Why are you learning data science? What was data science for? You're already studying a superior course. Is medicine not the best course in the world? Why is he studying data science again? I think those people were very blind. And they are seeing now that they are very blind because they have traveled outside the country and they are coming back to me and say, Godsent, please come and teach me that data science you were learning that time. Because they have seen, that you just cannot make serious, significant impact without a health tech skill. Right, so I started off because there was no really structure and community around to support my health tech career. So I started first in the fintech sector as a financial analyst, and then I was there for a while. But I just knew that was not where I was headed to. But I just needed that experience to broaden my knowledge and then my experience. Because of course, one good thing about pursuing a career in tech is that, especially in data, is that the skills are transferable. So if you have worked as a financial analyst, you can as well work as a healthcare analyst, right? So I just wanted to have an experience with this and see what I can do. So I started off as a financial analyst, and then after a while, I got a remote job as a healthcare analyst for a US-based company. And so that was where the whole story changed for me, right? I started collaborating with industry experts from across the world, gaining superior knowledge. And then at the moment, we are making serious impacts here in Nigeria. And then we have been able to achieve all the things that we have achieved. So I think that's a summary of the story.
Thank you so much. That's mind-blowing, right? That's mind-blowing. And I think the same energy you've driven here today is the same energy that you know, I felt the first day we connected, and that's what pushed us to have a collaboration MOU between SolaviseTech and Zion Tech Hub, right? Where we seen how we can drive in more value in the area of data science, data analytics, you know, especially for the African market. Thank you very much for the heads up. So now let's move it over to Boris. Before we get to Boris, I don't know, Kevin, are you good now? Or I still roll it over? Okay, so yeah, so let's get to Boris. So Boris, let's just equally know a little about your journey. You gave us a little highlight where you came in. You know, started from as a medical lab scientist, and then before getting to data science. Just to let our audience know, probably if you're here on the call and you've already chosen a tech career path, let's say you're into DevOps, you may be asking yourself, why should I learn about maybe this AI, machine learning, data science, right? As we move along the line, you understand that it's very important that we get to leverage AI in whatever we're doing, and that's one of the things we're integrating right now in our training at SolaviseTech. For those who are doing the data science, the cloud computing program, we're going to be integrating how cloud engineers and DevOps engineers can harness the power of AI in automating their task, right? In making their workflows more seamless and better. So this session is actually designed for everybody because we are in the AI age, and it's important that everybody is aware or knows how to use these tools or how to play around the ecosystem. So Boris, just walk us through again around your journey, and maybe while telling us your story, you want to let us know, based on the exposure you've had in India right now and what we have on ground here, let's say in Africa, how is the gap, and how do you think we can bridge that gap?
Okay, Dr. Samba. Okay, thank you. Please, let's just try to be attentive and just pick one or two things as we're discussing, because yes, when you follow the stories as we'll be telling you, you pick some very two pertinent points. I was very happy when Godsent was talking, and I felt like for everyone there's that trend is almost the same. One of the first things you need to understand is identification. You have to identify the relevance of the skill. And so when Godsent was speaking, you heard him talk about he met his mentor and he was able to identify what he was doing and he saw some importance in it. That was the same thing with me. Back in med school, when I was doing my bachelor's in medical laboratory sciences, so one day, one of my lecturers who believed in me so much and today she still does, she just sent me a link and be like, Boris, can you join this program? That was with one of the greatest person I respect, one of the persons that laid the foundation for data science. He's a doctor in molecular medicine. Call him Dr. Babila Tacho. He's based in Germany. So he actually organized these training programs for us. By then, it was completely free. So when we joined that program, we started doing data. You know, with this what we call there's a programming language called R. We started doing data analysis with R. And trust me, it's a programming language. When we started, I started the sessions. That was way back around 2017, 2018. He'll be teaching and you're not even on there. He'll be teaching, he'll be telling you about loops, he'll be telling you about things. And by then it was just sounding to me like crazy. We had even done a program. I think one of our courses in med school was biostatistics. We did biostatistics, but trust me, after validating that course, I was not even able to identify the relevance of that course up until I started that program with Dr. Babila. So once I started following the trends with Dr. Babila, we started going through, he started reiterating on the importance of data in healthcare as a whole, because he had a medical background as well. And so I started striking my interest. And so one thing you need to identify, everyone had a mentor. And that's even why we're here. So as we are talking, please, you try to pick the points. Like Godsent talk, he had a mentor, he had someone who laid the foundation for him. You understand? And I did have that too. And I knew I was working with Dr. Babila up to 2020 when I actually finished the program. And then I got the attestation for the completion of the program and things like that. Then that was when I had my first job as a monitoring and evaluation specialist back then in Cameroon. After I finished that program, you understand? So I started when I had my first job as a monitoring and evaluation specialist. Now I was working with data, we were monitoring progress of projects and how projects were going. We were analyzing the data and key points in the process. And so, but then, as within the hospital milieu, I saw the need because I was already working as a data person. But then I felt like there was just so much into this data, more than just sitting and evaluating, analyzing data. You understand? And that was how I started digging. And that was how I had my first challenge. Take note, everyone will have a challenge. When you start, you have a challenge. My first challenge was I wanted to do a master's program in data science. And so I started looking for universities around Cameroon. Please pay close attention and you'll notice that these challenges will cut across as everyone is listening. I started looking for universities around Cameroon to do a master's program in data science. Trust me, I searched. And I did not succeed to pick one. I even left data science. I said, let me go down to biostatistics and do a master's in biostatistics. I still try to evaluate it. When you have universities, what they'll be doing is they'll do programs like there'll be a course in biostatistics, which should just be a course. But we are looking for a full-fledged program where you'll be trained as an expert in that domain. And that was what I was looking for. I didn't get that. That's how I extended my search out of Cameroon. And that's how I found myself in India. Now, in the course of the program, some things were able to stand out. First, the path was not like, you went to school, you learned this, you finished with your degree, you specialize in this. No. Let me tell you how I studied. I started with R with Dr. Babila. We started learning R. When I finished R, I went to another program with OpenHI where I did Bayesian analysis. It's another section of data analytics. That was a completely different program. When I came here, I started my master's program in IT data analytics. I did another crash course. And then that was my main program in data analytics, you understand? And then again, I went again now and I did a postgraduate in data science and machine learning engineering. Now look at the things. I had to pick for multiple dimensions. The question is, at the end of the day, did I find it funny? Was it easy? It wasn't, trust me. And so now, That was the first challenge. There was no direct line, like there's no direct corridor, like you just follow, and then there's no direct corridor, like you follow it and you just find yourself landing into the field as an expert.
We have a second section by very soon, so I think
can you mute? Can somebody mute? Okay, thank you. And so that, just like Godsent also explained, you saw that there was no direct path, like you just follow, boom, and then you just went and then you landed into it. Now how did it now? How was I able to summarize it? So when I finished now, I mean, I was now working because I now work across multiple. I work remotely with US-based companies, and then I even work remotely with Cameroon-based companies. You understand? While sitting from the comforts of my home. Now, I haven't had this experience. When I met with Dr. Samba, the first thing that came into my mind is, if another African wants to take a program in data science, do they need to learn from here, learn from there, learn from here, learn from here, and learn all these things, put them together to be able to be a career path? No, I did that already. I went through all that torment already. And just like Godsent to us explained, he too went through all of that. But now we were able to harmonize the program. We were able to consolidate the program into one straight line program, where if you start the program, it's going to be from foundation to expert. And that was where SolaviseTech came in. You understand? So I was able now, with the help of Dr. Samba and other teammates, we were able to bring together the total data science curriculum into one straight program that spans from 8 to 12 months. And then now, for me, I had the opportunity to do it both as training and both as theory. You understand? I had the opportunity to sit in class where they are only telling you the theories about data, solving all those things on the board and telling you. And then I also had the opportunity to also have the trainings where I actually see, instead of drawing on the board, we are actually typing on the computer. And then at the end of the day, also I've been working for more than 5 years now in the industry. And then I asked myself, if I want to train somebody as a data scientist, which approach should I follow? Do I need to have a board where I'm drawing? Or do I need to should I bring them together to be able to also type on the computer like some of my trainings did? And so at the end of the day, we deliberated in SolaviseTech, and then we decided to draw up the program, and it was practical oriented. And so why was it practical oriented? Because we realized that in the course of the training, what you actually do in the industry is not writing on the board. You have to actually be sitting on your computer and practicing. And so that's been the journey. Now, let's look at some motivations. When for anybody, whether you're a medical doctor, whether you're a DevOps engineer, there are people coming from diverse backgrounds. We are not saying these backgrounds are not good. Trust me, everyone cannot be the same person. But then we want to answer a question, okay? When you answer that question for yourself, then at the end of the day, you make those decisions for yourself. No one is going to tell you, hey, you're going to do this. Now, let's not talk about yesterday. Let's talk about today. If you're sitting on this call, and by some means, if you're new to data, you don't know anything by some means, and you've not heard of the word AI, then I assume you don't have internet wherever in the country, wherever you find yourself. Maybe there's no internet connection at all, but I doubt if there's still a country without that possibility today. And now when you hear about artificial intelligence as AI, you now begin to ask yourself, what is artificial intelligence? Where you actually, if you have noticed and you've been opportune to use it, you actually notice that you have your computer behaving like a human being. You understand? That's just a high level of it. And if you're someone who is curious like I am, you start asking questions. What is this? How was this computer able to perform these things? How did it happen? And then that was it. That's the curiosity part of it for someone who wants to learn. And then now let's look at the trends. If you've been listening carefully, if you hear about tech news today, and if you're sitting in front of your computer, you can just pick up your computer and type top skills in technology. These skills will come on top. On the first 10, you have data science, machine learning engineering, data analytics. Trust me, guys, if you think I'm joking, hit that on Google now. It's going to pop up. Why is it like that? You begin to ask yourself, if you want to align yourself with the changing technology, whether you are as a DevOps engineer, whether you're a medical doctor or whoever you are, and then you want to align yourself with the developments of the world, right? So you ask yourself, what is it that is leading the industries? I cannot answer that question for you. But based on the information that you find available, you'll be able to tell yourself that, and if you'll be listening, you hear AI, all of these things happening all around. Let's talk about the importance of these things at all, by the way. Why do you even need it? Now, let's look at when Dr. Samba was introducing this talking point, he mentioned, let me just pick one person like who is a DevOps engineer. Fortunately for me, I also work as an IT consultant, so I actually have a good idea of what these people do across the industry. So now let's look at somebody like, maybe if I say DevOps engineer now, these people will not, it will throw a lot of people off, because if you're new to IT, you might just be asking, who is a DevOps engineer? Now I have to be forced to explain to you who is a DevOps engineer. Let's look at the very basic concepts of life that I always give an example for. Let's look at business. Everyone here, you must have known someone who does business. I always give an example, and I'd be like, let's assume that you're selling cars? You're selling cars, and then today you have 5 cars, or you have 10 cars, for example, and different cars. Maybe you have, I don't know a lot of cars, but I know a few ones. Maybe I know of RAV4, I know of Camry, I know of maybe of what's another, BMW and Mercedes. Okay, let's take these 4 cars, for example. And now you're a car dealer. That's at the level as a businessman. You can be someone who is selling cosmetics, or you can be someone who is selling electronics or something. You just transfer the knowledge and try to relate. Now, today you sold a Camry. Maybe you bought the Camry for 200K, and then you sold the Camry for 400K. Tomorrow again, you come to work, you sold the Camry again. But you have other cars. You sold the Camry again. The next day you come to work, you sold the Camry. Okay, in a month, you sold 10 Camrys and maybe 1 RAV4, 1 Mercedes, for example. Now you are just a businessman. Let's look at you as a lay businessman. Who doesn't want to implement the evolving technologies of the world now? What happens? What happens? You just keep selling, because you just know that, okay, Camrys, every day you come, you buy 1 Camry, you buy another Camry, you put, you sell. But now let's look at someone who is now actually looking at the trends of the world and the technology, how it's evolving. We are not talking about the businessman. We are not even talking about the data scientist. Now, what do? You look at your sales for the last month. That's what you start doing. Now we are not talking about statistics. You start putting down, hey, last month I sold 10 Camrys, 1 RAV4, 1 Mercedes. That is you collecting data, right? You've just put down your sales for 1 month. Now, after putting down your sales for 1 month, you are now asking, how is the next month going to look like? That it becomes a problem. How do you answer that question? In the next month, should I buy more Camrys, or should I buy more Mercedes or more RAV4s? There will become a lot of problems you have to answer. You have to ask which of them even gives you more profit, because the fact that you sold 10 Camrys, maybe just selling 1 Mercedes gave you more profit than the 10 Camrys that you've sold. That becomes another problem. Which car should I buy more? Which car gives me more profit? Which car gives me better turnover? Now you have yourself hooked around the loop of making a decision. And as a lay businessman who doesn't want to leverage technology, you're just going to go back and buy any car and bring back and sell it. Maybe you just buy more of your Camrys because you thought you were selling more Camrys. But now, as someone who actually deals with data now, this is where data comes in. One, as a data analyst, you analyze the data, and you'll be able to tell yourself that you sold more Camrys. That's what the data is going to tell you. You sold more Camrys as an analyst. As a business analyst, you might realize that even though you sold more Camrys, the profit you made just from 1 Mercedes covered the sales for even all the 10 Camrys you have sold. That is what a business analyst might even realize. And as a data scientist now, you can be able to predict what is going to happen to your sales of Camry, Mercedes, and Toyota in the next 1 year. You follow? You analyze your data, you analyze as an analyst, you analyze your profit as a business analyst, and you predict the future as a data scientist. Now, having done that, you take that data now that you have, and then you give it to a computer and say, oh, this, let's assume you collected this data now, you have been doing this, and then you collect this data now for 1 year, 10 years, for example, you have a lot of data, and then you train let's not go into the details, but we just say you train a computer with it. Therefore, when next you need to predict what is going to happen to your sales in the next, you don't need to sit down and do the calculation. The computer automatically just tells you that based on the information you have given me, I think that, are you getting what I'm saying? That's the computer telling you that based on the information you've given me, that's what we are now talking about, artificial intelligence, which springs up from machine learning. Because the computer learned from the data that you provided it with, and then it went up, and then it's now telling you that, hey, based on this information that you've given me, I think that in the next 2 months or in the next 1 year, you'll be making more money if you sell Camrys. And then they can even predict to tell you how many Camrys you should buy, how many Mercedes you should buy. It's now doing these things automatically without your intervention. Why? Because it learned from the data you provided. That was machine learning. And then you can now adapt it to some other language programming models that will not only predict, but it can even speak to you. When you come and you ask, hey, those of you who use Siri, you say, hey, Siri, what is the weather today? Siri just tells you the weather is this, we have 33 degrees, blah, 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 blah. How did Siri do all of that? You can do the same thing with your business data, and you'll be like, hey, let's say your own is not Siri, your own is John, for example. That's the name of your own model. And you'll be like, hey, John, what is going to be our sales in the next 2 months? Hey, he's going to do the same thing. Say, hey, I think that in the next month, we are going to be selling more Camrys. And you understand? Is that not fun? We are looking at this as a businessman. We're not even talking about you now being a data scientist or whatsoever. Now that becomes more relevant. And if you've paid attention, a ton of industries are investing into this. People are losing their jobs because the moment AI is the one doing these calculations for you, if you were there and your person was a sales manager, you were managing sales, the moment AI comes in, you lost your job automatically because AI will now be telling the director and the CEO how the sales are going to happen. You understand what I'm saying? If your job was there to calculate how many cars we should buy, bro, the moment AI comes in, you're done. So now the question becomes, if you want to look at data science, if you want to look at machine learning engineering, if you want to look at all of these things, should you actually invest your time into it? We did not say throw away your business, but I just showed you how a businessman because now we are not talking about domain knowledge. Pay close attention. You have domain knowledge. You use this technology as a businessman, you make gains. People are using it as medical doctors to analyze X-ray images. They are using it to analyze laboratory results. You know, how would a teacher use it? It summarizes your notes, highlights points that you should emphasize on as you're teaching your students. You know, we can just go on and on. But then one thing you notice is that there is domain knowledge, which you would apply that technology in. You understand? And then there is that ability to master that skill, to be able to apply it in the domain of your expertise. So we didn't say if you're a DevOps engineer, just throw it away. No, you use it to automate, write your Terraform scripts. That will, you use it to troubleshoot. But you need to understand how these skills work to be able to leverage them. So should you pick and should you learn data science and machine learning as a businessman, as a DevOps engineer, as a medical doctor? That's up to you. If I've said all these things, if you're unable to answer that question, then maybe the next conversation will
All right. Thank you, Boris. I think Kevin is back. While maybe you grab a glass of water. We're already about stepping into the technical side of things. Let me bring on Kevin now, who is going to have a conversation with Godsent, especially on the technical side of things, right? So we started off more non-technical. So I'm going to pull up the spotlight on Godsent. So Kevin, you have the mic, please.
Thank you. Confirm that you can hear me.
100%. Godsent, are we good?
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm good.
Good now. That now this is awesome. So maybe Dr. Samba, you can put Godsent on the spotlighting for everyone. Also, that would be awesome. Good. I'm I'm waiting on that so that we have, okay, you know, I can do that.
So
Okay.
Godsent is on the spotlight right now for
He's already on the
everyone.
spotlight. I can see that on his icon. But it's
Okay, one sec. Replace spotlight.
Amazing.
Great.
I can now confirm and do also add me on the spotlight.
Okay, great. Gonna add you on the spotlight. Awesome.
Amazing. Awesome. So I'm very sure that this is also going to appear very good on the other side of YouTube, so that the time Godsent goes back to review it, he's going to be smiling all the way through. Anyways, I was actually following your story. I was following your story while it's just I couldn't tell Dr. Samba because he could have actually like deducted 10% of my of my shares in SolaviseTech if I could have told him I was driving between locations while the session was going. But I'm settled in and I'm here. And when I was listening to you about that aspect about doctors and these different kinds of classes, you could see those who are working hard, those who are working smart, and there was something kind of a different thing about it. And I love the way you mentioned that you had this prof who you're really looking up to, and you wanted to know what made him tick. And then you gave all these different advice, and this is one advice that made me really think, and like you to connect it and maybe just answer me about what do you think his advice of telling you finish medical school before starting out on your any kind of your data science, did it make sense? And for anyone maybe moving from non-tech to tech, on the aspect around transferable skills, what was your take around all that? Just in a jiffy or something.
All right, so I think like most of us know already, it never gets easy at any time, right? It never gets easy at any time along medicine. As long as you're within the traditional medicine paths, it never gets easy, because after medical school, you're moving straight up to housemanship, and then after housemanship, you begin the routine practice, and it's always hectic along. And so I think that you just have to make the decision. I think I looked at it and then I said, this is what exactly I want. And I think that's what I always tell people, that you're going to be very successful in anything when you understand the why. When your why is strong enough, why are we doing what we're doing as Zion Tech Corp? Why did we even establish Zion Tech Corp in the first place? What is the why behind it? Why are you pursuing a career in tech? Why? Whenever I see people with a very strong why, with a very firm, resolute purpose, I can tell how far those people will go, right? And so for me, I knew the challenges, but then again, my why was strong enough. And then I think that was why I was able to push through. So at any point in time, you can push through your career, either as a medical student, either as a practicing medical doctor, whether you're into tech. Of course, you can do that and become very successful. You just have to understand the why and be sure that why is strong enough.
Amazing, amazing. Just confirm, I had a bit of a drag. I don't know whether it was on my end or on your end.
Hello,
but it's okay. Just confirm. Can you hear me? Am I right?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, definitely. Awesome. Let's continue. So we've learned, and I love the fact that you mentioned about the start. I also love this book by Simon Sinek called Starts With Why. A friend of mine, we were actually yesterday I was posting a badge. I finished a certain 2-month program by GitHub called the All in Open Source Africa. So I just wanted to try my hands in something new on open source contribution. And I was shocked that someone in my team, who were in the team together, very active, pushing us, and then he was telling me he did not meet the graduation requirements, and I was so sad, and I was wondering. And then I was asking him. I was so concerned, and I asked him, and he told me, "Just know, Kevin, it was just a bad case of procrastination. I saw those I was required to show my open source contributions. We were supposed to share 5 evidences of open source contributions, whether it's an article or whether it's a pull request from a repo and such. And sadly, he postponed, and then the deadlines was passed. And by the time it was graduation, that is when it dawns on you that you are supposed. So, and I just told him that if only your why was like strong enough, then definitely, if you could always visualize you starting what you finish, finishing what you're starting, then definitely it will make a lot of sense. Now let's get technical, right? And I'd like to get to know in terms of data science. Data science, I know some people sometimes they say, I'm a data analyst, someone say I'm a data scientist, someone else say I'm a machine learning engineer. And sometimes it gets a bit confusing. Sometimes you're told like you have to be very good at statistics for you to get into this aspect of data. Just try to demystify all these things around for us. Where should I start? As a normal layman like Kevin, who is just knowing only about cloud and wants to come and rock the data space? What can I do?
All right, so my advice is always going to be that you start from the simpler concepts and then you start building upon those simple concepts. And so if you want to start with a simple concept, of course, you start from data analytics. So personally myself, I'm a data scientist now, but I have a very strong foundation in data analytics, right? So in fact, I train data analysts across the world as well. And so when you start from data analytics, you understand the basic logic of data science, and then you understand how data is used across these various careers, because the way I use data as a data analyst is not the same way I use data as a data scientist. And so as a data analyst, basically, I was just concerned with analyzing data to extract insights that can help businesses make informed data decisions, right? So I just want, but as a data scientist, how I use data is to use data to train machine models and then to make predictive analytics, right? That can also, of course, result to phenomenal growth for businesses. So the way we use data in these two careers are actually very different. But like I've said earlier, it begins from starting from the basic. And then the basic concept, of course, is data analytics. You understand data analytics, and then you can now go to data science, and then you learn about machine learning models and all those fancy things that we do there.
Amazing. I love that. You start with like simpler concepts, get into the groove of it, then you can move from data analytics to data science or something. And that's pretty much clear, and I love that. It makes a lot of sense. And I don't know whether I'm getting a background noise from someone, or someone sending to music or something. Let me see. Okay, awesome. Okay, so as we continue Godsent, and I'm just having 2 more questions for you.
Yes, please go on.
I'd like to get to know for you, like, what are those things that excite you in those trends in data science? Like, what can wake you up at 3 a.m. and you can just jump onto your notebook to write that thing about that model that was not trainable, and then you just go back to sleep or continue dreaming about that model? Just tell us, what is exciting you in this space?
All right, I think it's been really very exciting. Yes, it's been really, really very exciting for me. I think, of course, yesterday I was having a section with my friends in the US, and then we're trying to build a visualization system for a business, for an e-commerce store that is able to visualize their data in real time. So, like you know already, in superstores like this and e-commerce stores, you have customers coming in all the time, and all these customers are generating large amount of data. So we needed to see what this data means on a dashboard. So we're actually very tired. Every time the management is asking us, please, can you send us the trend of sale across this month? Can you send us the trend of sale across this month? So we sat down as a team and said, we are tired of answering trend of sales every month. Let's just build a model for them and keep it in their office so that they can see the trend of sales themselves every month. And so we actually we were working on that already, and I think we're already 75% done. I think we're going to finish that again this morning. So all the customer data, we are going to connect the server. We are going to connect the server directly to Power BI, and then we are going to the new Power BI feature. The new Power BI desktop feature has a system where we can use for machine learning. So we're actually building the model right there in the Power BI system, and then connect the data directly. So all the data generated right from the store, we get that updated data directly on the system there, and we do the analysis and we make the visualization. So this management don't need to disturb us every time and say, give us trend of sale, give us trend of sale. And then I can have time to attend meetings like this.
Amazing, amazing. We want you to build more models so that you can just come here and spit wisdom. so that you have more time to spit wisdom with us. So one final question for me before I take it back to Dr. Samba to take us through the other part is, you already say this, we learn from failures. Failure is a good thing. Let's put it in terms of lessons. Maybe can you give us one scenario where in the work, especially in the data science space, where things did not go according to plan and how you were able to overcome that kind of a failure or how you learned from it? It'd be great to know.
Hello, I think your network is breaking, or is it my network?
Oh, sorry.
I can't hear you clearly.
Did you lose me at some point? Sorry.
Yes, please come again. Come over again.
Okay. Yeah. So I was saying we always learn from failure, and there's something to get out of it. So my question was simply asking you, in your data science career, at some point, could you paint for us a scenario where you encountered some things that did not go according to plan, and how you overcame that kind of a failure and how you learned from it? It would be great to wrap up our discussion with you.
Okay, so like I said, I'd always wanted to pursue a career in health, right? So I wanted to become a health tech expert. But because at the time here in Nigeria, there was no robust system to actually encourage and fuel my dreams. And I think one of the things I actually advise tech enthusiasts is that when you want to start your tech career, you start that around a community of people that can constantly keep you motivated. Because when you're trying to build exclusively or isolatedly, you're going to get frustrated and you're going to back out. But when you have a very supportive community, the community keeps pushing you. So I wanted to explore the health tech space, but I didn't have so many persons there to guide me. I didn't even know what exactly I was going to do. My friends were already telling me, God said this thing is not going to work. Okay, so what is it for you? Like, tell us, are you going to become a consultant? Because to them in medicine, everything's about consultant. Are you going to become a consultant? Are you going to become what? And honestly, I didn't know truly. I didn't know how I was going to move from point A to point B. I had a lot of uncertainties, right? And then recently, I think one of the things I just did was I trusted my instinct. I trusted my instinct that I was in the right direction. And then I think that was last month. Last month, I attended the Africa Digital Health Summit in Echo Hotel, where we had over 47 different countries represented and even some countries across the world. And then I met a plethora of healthcare experts. I met country director for World Health Organization, country director for UNICEF. I met all kinds of health tech experts. As a matter of fact, I even was privileged to, in fact, currently I'm being mentored by the country director for UNICEF, Dr. Sonny Ebeneme. So he's my mentor at the moment. And he's telling me, yes, and he's telling me that your dreams are valid, that your dreams are valid. So one thing for me was I didn't lose interest. And when I went there, I saw truly that these dreams are valid, that I was on the right track all along. All right. So sometimes when we meet these challenges, when we are very uncertain and we don't know what to do, just trust your instinct. Just be sure that you're on the right track. Hold on your grip. And then you never can tell, you just find the light there in that darkness.
Amazing, amazing. There's no other way I could put it. There's nothing, I don't want to even dilute any part of it. I just finish and tell Dr. Samba, trust your instinct. Over to you.
All right, thank you very much. So this is getting me emotional. It's like the stories are kind of similar, you know. Let me have Boris join. So Boris, thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. Godsent as well. Godsent, your mic is still on. We can hear you. Thank you. All right. So Boris, let's maybe just get next 1-2 minutes, and then from here, guys, we're going to get questions. All right, so we're going to get questions. If you have a question, you can just maybe raise your hand. We're going to take the questions from here. This session is going to be ending the next 25 minutes, right? So yeah, so Boris, now let's get back to you and hear from your own end, right? You went a bit more technical, which is quite great, and I wanted to go into. And they say repetition is like the mother of learning, and I want us to see repeat this. A lot of people are still very scared. I talk to people on a daily basis, and they're like, would this AI thing take away our jobs? There's a lot of fear and uncertainty, right? People in different domains, they still very scared. What is your take around this, and how can people future proof? Because we'll be talking about this thing over and over and over again until it really sinks into people's minds, right? Something they don't get just the first time. So why should people really take this AI thing serious now? Would AI really replace our jobs? I remember when I traveled over to Rwanda in 2021 on a business trip. That was one of the periods of the heart of COVID-19. That was the first time I met a physical robot, right? That was being used to serve patients in the hospital. And I was like, is this how the future of healthcare is going to be? Would these things actually come and replace us as humans in the hospitals and things like that? So what is your take around this AI thing and people being scared of AI is going to take away our jobs and things like that? Over to you, please.
Dr. Samba, that was a conversation I had with my students the other day. But Dr. Samba, as you're on mute, please on mute, let's have a conversation, please.
Okay, good. Good.
Dr. Samba, do you know civil engineering? Do you have any information? If I give you a house to draw a plan for a house, can you do it?
I've not done civil engineering before.
Great. But if you now, if I ask you about something about medicine, can you answer that question?
Absolutely.
Okay. If I ask you something about cloud computing, can you answer that question?
Absolutely.
Good. Now you notice something. Before you can actually tell that you can do something, you need to be trained. You need information. You need to be trained in that domain. You understand? You cannot talk about civil engineering because you are not being taught civil engineering. And how long does it take a normal human to go through a civil engineering program in school? At least 4 years after your normal high school certificate exams or something. And then it takes you about 4 years to do another program in maybe do a specialization in civil engineering or something. What am I saying in essence? Now, while before I answer the question whether AI will take our job, let's first of all look at the AI as something. Let's look at where the fear is. You understand what I'm saying? The fear why people are even bringing up these questions is simply because AI, unlike you who can only study cloud computing and medicine, AI can study civil engineering, cloud computing, medicine, in short, everything. Because if you just pick up an AI model, like one of the most common ones, that's ChatGPT, one of the largest AI models that we have now. If you just pass a question about civil engineering, it's going to answer. You understand? If you ask it a question about cloud computing, it's going to answer. Ask it a question about medicine, it's going to answer. Ask it a question about anything. Now, how does it get this information? While we are busy sleeping, or as human beings, while we are resting, because we normally need to rest, it's completely being supplied data in these different domains by different experts. There are people, because how it works is when you do machine learning, you understand that it came to a point where the more data it learns, as the more data you give it, that's how perfect it becomes. Just like you, if I spend 10 years teaching you medicine, you're going to be a better medical doctor, right? Because I'll give you as much information. And the quality of information that I also give you also orientates you again to become a better doctor or whatever specialty you are. And so now, while we are sleeping, different experts with different expertise are sending these AI models data. While we are sleeping, they don't sleep. They are learning every day. And so now the question becomes, let's go down to an individual level. If you are if you are a DevOps engineer, and then maybe let's look at, I always don't like to go to the tech because we are talking, assumably we should be addressing non-tech background audience. So let's assume that you're maybe with a nurse or something. While you're resting, drugs are coming into the market, different medical interpretations are coming into the market. You do not have access to this information. Different diseases are coming up. But the AI model is there every day. As we go, days are going by, different people are punching this data into these models. They are learning. So that's where the first fear comes in. Because we are resting and because we are humans and everything, these things are not resting. They keep learning. You understand? Every day they keep learning. And so automatically there'll come a point where the amount of information that an AI model will have will be way more than the amount of information that one individual can contain. Because even if you're a medical doctor, you need to specialize as what, maybe an orthopedist or a gynecologist or one thing. But this AI model does not even need to specialize somewhere. They get data from diverse sources. That is where the fear is coming around, because these models keep improving themselves. That's the fear. Now let's address the question. Now, is it because they are now improving themselves, would they take away our jobs? There's a lot of discussions around that topic, on a lot of platforms that I find myself on AI, on machine learning platforms. There's a lot of discussion around that. But my take personally is that it has come to displace certain jobs and has created room for other jobs. For example, in 10 years back, no one was talking about machine learning engineering. No one was talking about machine learning engineering some years back. But today, it's on the limelight. Everyone is talking about machine learning engineering. Why? Because you need these skills to be able to develop, to be able to work with an AI model. No one was talking about data analytics. No one was talking about data cleaning, data processing, and all these things. But then, as AI has evolved, as AI has come, there's a lot of interest in it. So what am I saying? In as much as it's taking away some jobs, it's creating room for other jobs. It's opening doors. And so it's closing some doors and opening some other doors. Now, should you as an individual go in? Now I'll ask you, before in the previous discussion that we had, it comes down to your domain. Sit at home as whoever you are, ask yourself, where can this AI come in my industry that will render me irrelevant? Whether you are a DevOps engineer, where do you think that this AI can come in your industry? Because skills are about implementation. Where do you think this AI will come in my industry that will now render me irrelevant? And so once you understand where it will come in and render you irrelevant, you improve yourself in that domain related to AI. You learn how to use AI in that domain. So that is just going to be the carry there.
Like, where is it going to come and make you relevant? You mean, right?
No, let's look at where, if AI is implemented where you are working now, where would it cut you off?
Okay.
Where you are working now, if we bring in AI, why will it kick you out? And then once you understand where it will kick you out, you now know what to do, so that when they bring the AI, you feel in, because they are bringing the AI learned, the AI did something. So you have to learn how to work with the AI, so that when it comes into where you are going to go out, you step up. It's as simple as that, right?
100.
So instead of it sending you out, you are instead now flowing with the development. Because if, for example, your job was writing Python scripts and using them for automation process as a DevOps engineer, maybe, for example, and then now you think that if your company now implemented an AI model that writes Python scripts, that means the moment the model comes in, you are irrelevant. The company kicks you out. So what do? You learn how to train an AI model to write Python scripts. Because by then, when the company now comes and bring in AI, they will not keep you because they'll keep you because you now know how to train that AI to do the job that you were doing before. Because it will do it faster and even more efficient. But you know how to coordinate it to do the job. You know how to train it. You know how to deploy it. You know, because these are models, you deploy them. You know how now. Because there's something that's coming up, even for those who are doing machine learning, who are doing DevOps. There's something called ML Ops, machine learning operations. You need now to know how to deploy machine learning models. So you see that if you do not move as these things are moving, automatically, once this AI now is behaving almost like a human being, when it comes in, you stay out. But if you grow with it, when it comes in, you stay relevant. It's as simple as that, Dr. Samba.
Thank you very much. Like I see Asaf has dropped in the chat there. Someone who learns how to use AI is definitely going to replace someone who doesn't know how to use AI. And Dr. Jude is equally adding his voice to say that anticipating the keyword to avoid being redundant in one's field is so important. That comes with the mindset, right? And trust me, the biggest challenge is for people to change their mindsets. People say, oh, this is how we've always done this thing, we've always worked with papers, we've always done things our own way. So why should we, start learning how to use this? So that's always the biggest fight. But I believe that with that constant education, it starts with education, which is what SolaviseTech is all about. We are not just here to, have a boot camp, just train people. We are building a community where we also want to contribute to society in, shaping the minds of people, having that forward thinking attitude, that proactiveness, and staying, in such a great environment. So right now, thank you very much, Boris. We're going to take questions, and please just raise your hand so we can equally bring you on the spotlight. You can ask your question, and your question can be directed to any of the speakers, right? And they're going to give you proper responses. So right now, if you have any question, maybe you can just raise your hand, or you can just unmute, and then we're going to have you. Thank you very much. So the structure of the questions, you can just introduce yourself, let us know exactly. Okay, yes, Dr. Nero. Let's have you. If it's possible to be on camera, that would be super great, right? So we also know who we're interacting with. Like this forum also is a forum for networking. We never can tell who is going to be that next person that is going to give us an opportunity. You may be in a country where we have some other person in this call who is going to, based on conversations, connect with you thereafter and so on. So if you can be on camera and ask a question, that would be amazing. If not, it's still fine. You can go ahead and ask a question.
Okay, can you see me?
Yes, we can see you.
Oh, so good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It was a really nice session. I want to thank Mr. Boris and Mr. Godsent for their impact on the tips they gave us. So my question is, for those interested in getting some like masters or postgraduate studies in data science, Mr. Boris mentioned his school in Germany. So I'd like to know what he used in his application, like the details he added in his application that was able to make him, as a health professional, to stand a chance of getting this degree or training in Germany. That's my question. So, Mr. Boris, if you can help me with that, to be very nice for me. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Nero, thank you. Now let's work back on that part for me. So this program was actually a remote program. It was run by an institution called InSearch. It was completely free. It was free, but the classes were there. You take them or you don't take them. Because I remember by then, when we started in 2017, 2018, something like that, a lot of Africans, we could go into class and we were about 200. We were a lot. We could join the class, we were about 80. Yeah, this we were about 80. But we had these classes weekly. At the end of the day, the question is, do you actually follow the classes to the end? So they were free. That was how I got my own training. So my mentor, who was Dr. Babila, he was the one running the program. He would come, put up the lectures. By then, we were using Google Classroom. I don't know if you know that. By then, we did all this Zoom thing that is now so predominant now. By then, was not even, we were using Google Classroom and all those platforms to be able to do the classes. So I didn't actually apply for anything. They threw this thing up. It was free. I joined. A lot of people joined along the way. Trust me, learning where you don't pay. When you're learning and you don't pay, it's never motivating. Trust me, unless you have a strong why, like somebody pointed out. You understand? And so when you're learning when you don't pay, it's always like, it's like it's not valuable. But if you are able to answer the why, then it guided you. So for me, it was completely free. I started the program. It was going on and on. We'll go for breaks. They will resume again, whether you continue or not. No one is calling you to ask you, hey, Why are you not starting? But trust me, when I went through the program, when he thought that I was good, I was fit to get my first attestation, and he went for my first job, and I got it. And then after that, now it was remote. I found myself doing it remote. I now actually told myself, let me have a classroom experience where I can now sit there and now have a degree, a formal degree to back up my knowledge as an individual, you understand? That was how I went in to do another master's in IT data analytics. I just applied for that one in India. The institutions are there. They subsidized my program. I went in. I just gave them my documents for my past experience, my work experience, my achievements. That was what I submitted. The institution looked at it, validated it, gave me an admission letter on I think a 50% scholarship basis, and I took it. And that's how I found myself here. I graduated, I've defended already. I started the postgraduate along the way, and I've also concluded on that too as well. So that is as simple as that, Dr. Nero. I didn't do anything extraordinary. The only thing was consistent. I was consistent in the pursuit.
Thank you. Thank you, Boris.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. All right. So probably maybe Dr. Nero, at this point in time, I would like everyone just drop your LinkedIn handles in the chat. Probably you can sync even with Boris in case you need guidance as well on maybe pursuing a master's program, say in India, maybe where you actually did. If that's part of your career journey, you can always link up. So this is a time, please just drop your LinkedIn handles in the chat. You can connect. And then Eric, equally you can drop the link to our community, SolaviseTech community, where people can always stay up to date as well with the different things that we're offering. Just to let you guys know, for those who are also looking forward to maybe going deep dive into data science, machine learning, we have a session coming up mid-August. And also at the level of Zion Tech Hub, the flyer is going to be out soon, probably by early next week. Zion Tech Hub, also a partner, is offering a great program in data analytics. I think tomorrow I'll be running an orientation session with them. So if you're on the call and your career path, you're looking at data analysis, you want to really go deep dive in data analysis, you can sync up with Zion Tech Hub's a 3 months program. But the deep dive of the data science, which we're running, is actually 8 months. It's 8 months end to end, and it runs on weekends only. So tomorrow again, like I said, I'm going to be doing an orientation program together with the team at Zion Tech Hub. So let's maybe get the next set of questions in case there are. Take this time to ask your questions so that you can have clarity and we can all strategically position ourselves when it comes to this AI, data science, and everything. So any other questions this far? You can raise your hand or you can just unmute yourself. I see everyone was taking a lot of notes. Probably if there's silence, probably the presenters were very explicit, or people are shy to ask questions, right? Those are the different possibilities that we have. Okay. So any other questions? Yes, Dr. Jude. All right.
Thank you very much, Doc. Greetings to all. I'm Dr. Berin Jude from Bamenda. I have really enjoyed the session and especially the experience sharing. I've actually been seeing the invite for this, but I've not had time to participate in any. So I'm happy I was able to participate on this session. I have just some two major I'll call them questions for Godsent. They may sound a bit funny, but I just want to hear his opinion. I just want to find out, does he miss medical practice? And if you were to rewind time and take decisions, will he still have followed the path he has actually taken? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the question, Dr. Jude. Apparently, it seems we lost Godsent along the line, but I would definitely ensure I'll revert to him to ensure that we get a response to that question. All right. And I think at some point that question also sings to me, right? I feel that question personally, as to if we kind of miss the part of the clinical practice. So from my own end, from time to time I get to, like, I always tell my wife I miss my scalpel, right? Because I spend most of my time in the theater doing surgery, and at one point I find myself I got into tech, and but I'm glad right now I'm back into healthcare, but more on the digital health side of things. So yes, for me, I still sometimes miss my scalpel because I really loved surgery. But I'll get the feedback from Godsent, and then I'll definitely circle back on that. Thank you.
Can I add something to that?
Okay, please.
Yeah. Also, one of the things, Dr. Jude, you want to know is that when we talk about this data and data things, I always say it's domain specific. Trust me, because you use data to solve a particular problem. I cannot use business data to solve health problems. I can use health data to solve health problems. So I feel like when you are doing it in a particular domain, having come from a medical background, for example, and you are actually experiencing working as a health data scientist, for example, you don't actually feel so disconnected away from it. Why do I say so? Because I also had to work on a project once in a while where we were actually working on there's something called Internet of Things, IoTs. So now what is happening with a project where we actually have patients in the hospital, they were monitoring them because they were on particular treatments, you understand? And so they have, it's in the advanced world, they are connected all these, there are different machines on the patients, they were monitoring their different parameters. And every day, those systems send that data to a particular database. And I had to tap into that database, collect that data, process it, and I had to be reporting to the team on site every day. What are the trends of each patient daily? Where were you yesterday? For the different parameters, maybe your BP yesterday, what is your BP today? You see the trends, whether it's actually increasing or decreasing. And from there, the team on site who were actually monitoring can now be able to also make decisions based on the information they are seeing. If yesterday your BP was down and today they are coming is escalated or something like that, they follow those trends as I could put that on a dashboard and they were following. And so I actually could sync with this data because when I'm analyzing BP, I know that this BP is not normal. You understand? As a medic, I know that this BP is not normal. This blood sugar does not make sense. This, I was able to see in myself, and so I could relate with the data. So even working as a data scientist, I didn't actually feel completely excluded from the domain because I was working within the domain. And so it actually gave me a feel like, okay, yeah, it's still medical laboratory sciences, but at another level. So Dr. Jude, you can still think with it, but maybe not with your scalpel as Dr. Otavise wants.
Yeah. So this at this point is quite interesting. So just to maybe if you want to put a cap on it, is to say a lot of people probably are looking for a possibility maybe to transition into tech or to get to learn the tech skill and then apply in their domain. And that's really how it worked maybe for some of us, where we had to go learn 100% how it works in the tech and then now come and then apply. So we get to have, a good feel back in, where we started. So I think that it's a great way to look at it, and you enjoy it even more, right? Even though for sure there will be times that you still have a soft spot, right? You miss those old good days. For sure. All right. Thank you very much. That was a great question, Dr. Ju. Thank you. Okay. So let's see. Do we have any other question as we wrap up the session? Maybe the last question. Any other question as we wrap up? So we can drop our LinkedIn handles. Let's connect everyone. Let me see. So as we wrap up, we just want to plead for everyone to come on camera. If we can come on camera so that we can have a picture. Just come on camera. Let's take a screenshot. You can use this screenshot to Welcome to those who are just joining. In case you missed the session, you're going to have access to the recording on YouTube. We're actually streaming live. It's quite important. So when you actually maybe do a LinkedIn post, you want to tag SolaviseTech, you want to tag the presenters, let's start networking. You never can tell. I tell everybody, maybe user, somebody has a device name user, maybe you want to rename so we can be able to easily identify you as well. You never can tell on this call, your next employer could be here. The next person who will give you a recommendation will be here. So through this, the vision for SolaviseTech having this fireside chat and just helping to bring people together to network is such that we can, bring the abnormal way of people getting opportunities, where in the past you maybe have to, have several applications, go through several rounds of interviews, follow up with people here and there. But here, this is a shortcut that you can take. From here, you can get to someone's DM, and before you know it, you have your next opportunity. So let's get to come on camera. Dr. Nero, Chris, Dr. Jude, Alfred, Philip, Adam, Olainka, thank you guys so much for making out 1 hour, 30 minutes of your busy schedule on a Saturday that you could be spending time with family. We really, really appreciate it. And we believe that this seed we are sowing is going to go a long way to create greater impact. So Asaf, or you can help us as we wear a good smile, or Eric, get a good screenshot of these sessions. All right. So you don't want to look bad on the LinkedIn post, right? You want to smile. Let me talk like Kevin. All right. So maybe Eric, you're going to walk us through that 1, 2, 3, then we get it. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Just hold on for a second.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. We go. I caught all of you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, everyone. And let's stay connected. Let's stay healthy. God bless you all, and do have an awesome weekend. In case you have any questions at any time, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. Let's keep networking. Let's keep building. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Thank you very much.